Welcome to my goals video for 2026. I don't only set goals at the end of the year. I'm one of those kind of set goals as you go type of people, but with the turn of the year, it's as good a time as any to let you know what my focus will be for 2026. I have 5 bookish goals, and then if you're interested, 4 personal ones. And I am very driven, maybe not by the goals themselves, but by the act of setting them. Just getting clear with my intentions on what I want to achieve for the next year is really powerful for me. And I am constantly evaluating my life, figuring out how I can make things better. So today is like a culmination of all the strategies I've been slowly putting into place to improve my life. So starting with reading goals, my first goal is to read for 30 minutes every night before bed. This is one of the carryovers from last year, but the difference is this is now my number 1 goal. It's been a busy year for me, and reading is just something that happens in quick little snippets here and there throughout the day, usually through audiobooks. I often complain I'm not reading fast enough, and yet I am not setting aside any extra special time for reading. And before bed used to be my main jam before smartphones were a thing. I would read like 50 to 100 pages before bed every night. We're a long way from those habits, but I really like the ritual of it. It's as close to meditation as I get, and it's something I do to calm my mind down to get ready for a good night's rest. Someone who can read consistently before bed is someone who really has a handle on slow living and taking care of themselves. And I did an okay job last year. I would say maybe 5 out of the 12 months I read before bed, and it was awesome. I had so much fun. I wasn't afraid to tackle these massive fantasy tomes, things that require just physical reads only. So that is my number 1. Goal number 2, finish things. And really that applies to everything in my life. I have all these open loops of projects and things that I've started that I've not gotten back to. And Oliver Burkeman in Meditations for Mortals has this really good section about how people, particularly perfectionists, have this habit of starting new things because of all the excitement that it brings. But then when the project gets messy and complicated and overwhelming, they tend to abandon it for something that seems more perfect. This creates a lot of anxiety. His main point is that if you can actually see things through all the way to the end, you'll start completing things at a quicker rate, thereby alleviating the anxiety. So the real key in that is to acknowledge that the anxiety is going to be there for all the things that you're not getting to, trying to figure out how to cope with those feelings but still make yourself finish things. And over time, seeing things get knocked off the list will help alleviate the anxiety. So it's like a reinforcing loop there. I love the way he puts that sentiment, and I would like to apply that to my reading, specifically series. I have been making a concerted effort this year to not start new series. Been doing fantastic, and most of the ones that I've started I've finished right away. And through this experiment I have discovered a newfound childlike enthusiasm for reading, as well as noticing higher ratings for the series that I've been allowing myself to bask with, and also a really clear-cut impatience for the ones that just aren't working for me. So more DNFs than I usually have. All of these things are good. I want to take it a step further by focusing on the really high priority series and seeing those through to completion, and getting to a lot of these new releases from authors that I love that I just haven't made time for. Goal number 3, get rid of all of my unhauled books. Unhauled just means I decided I don't want it anymore, but there's so much involved with handling these books once they leave my shelves, and I've been flooded with them. Because I'm particular about things, I don't just donate the books when I unhaul them in all my videos. No, they get put in a closet, and I very slowly go through and list everything on Pango Books and try to sell stuff. And this project, since I've been doing Read, Burn, Hoard and getting rid of so many books, has expanded to claiming an entire closet in my house. I've got 3 shelves absolutely packed of books that I'm selling, and then the rest is just boxes and packing material. So there's so much space, time, and energy cost to unhauling these books, and I've been messing with it for 3 years now, and I am so sick of it. Not to mention having to tend to the app and negotiate sales and offer discounts and things like that, and then when a sale is actually made, having to print out the label, package it up nicely, take it physically to the UPS and send it off. It's a lot of work, but I'm a perfectionist and a completionist, so I can't see myself doing it any other way. but I decided that by the end of the year, I would like to have all of my to-be-sold books down to a single shelf in the closet, and then maybe one extra shelf for packing material, because I want the space back and it's driving me crazy. I get rid of a lot of these books in Read, Burn, Hoard, which is a feature on my channel where I go through my collection painstakingly, deciding what to keep and what to let go, and I am on track to finish Era 2, the second pass through the collection, by August or September of 2026, and that'll leave me a couple months at the end of that to like get rid of everything. Just let it go. I talk about trying to simplify life a lot, but then I proceed to do everything to the perfectionist degree that is complete opposite to what I'm trying to achieve. It's just how I'm wired. Goal number 4, write more reviews. This is a carryover from every single book goals list I've ever written. And I'm realistic with myself now that I have too many other things vying for high priority attention, and it's secondary. Writing reviews is secondary at this point, and I don't see anytime soon it becoming my first pick on how to spend my creative energy. That said, I still want to include it in a list because focusing on it over the last year, I may not have written as many reviews as I wanted to, but I was able to refine the system in which I write reviews and streamline the process to the point where it's not a painful thing to write reviews. Like, I can get myself to do it without too much cajoling, but now I'm just not willing to spend the time on that over other things. But there's an anxiety there because I know the further I get from having read these books, the less insightful my reviews are going to be, and that stresses me out. At least I've captured my thoughts on most of them via video, but that's not something you can look up very easily, especially when it's just in like a vlog or a recap. So I don't have a plan yet, but I would still like to continue focusing on, figuring out how to incorporate that. Goal number 5, have more fun reading through my collection. I've been having a reading crisis for the last several years, and I get so serious about everything. And while all this serious, deep thought has led me to some really fun insights where I'm starting to recapture the joy of reading again, now I believe I have thought it to death, and I've gone as far as I can take it within reason, and now it's just time to start enjoying things. I need an attitude adjustment. I would like to take more pure joy in the titles that I'm reading and this amazing collection that I've amassed, and be more led by what sounds like fun to read right now as opposed to what should I be reading right now. Hold me accountable to this because I would really like that attitude and that spark of joy to start becoming evident in my videos. I'm always going to be analytical about things, but yeah, it's been with a heavy heart for a couple of years. Now I want it to be more fun. And now we get into the personal goals section. My goals tend to follow suit with like typical goals, whatever. Like there's nothing revolutionary here, but I will say most of the things on my list last year, I was able to move forward to my satisfaction to the point where they're just ingrained habits now. And I don't feel like they need to be on this year's list. So this year's list is just a little bit shorter, and it's still got a couple of pain points of the things I haven't quite been able to figure out yet. Without a doubt, goal number 1 is to unplug. I read so many books about going digitally minimal and consume so much content, and I have tried so many things, and I'm a lot better than I used to be, but dang, like, I just do not feel like my time is my own. I am a slave to my phone, and that compulsion to check things. Even if you take off social media, if you have not addressed the compulsion, you will find other things to check obsessively. Like, I don't check Instagram, I check my bank account. I check my email account. Email's actually pretty bad. They kind of orchestrate it that way too. But I can't even tell you how many times I go onto my phone and then check the most asinine things. So I am like this close to buying a flip phone and just saying heck with my smartphone. But I have a few more strategies I'd like to try. Cal Newport's been talking a lot lately about when you get home, your phone lives in the kitchen plugged into the wall. If you need to do something on your phone, you have to walk to it and stand there uncomfortably. I've tried versions of that, but I've not really committed, you know? But I'm just so sick of being plugged in. I want this slow living experience of feeling like my time is my own. I remember back before smartphones were a thing, how my weekend days felt long. They felt enjoyable. I had to come up with new projects to work on and amuse myself on, and it really allowed me to bask in my perfectionism on doing things that take a long time and the satisfaction of that. I remember what it felt like, and I would like to get as much of that back as I can to support My goal number 2, finish all of my outstanding creative projects in 2026. I have made so many strides this year, and I'm so proud of myself for how hard I've worked on the things that I value the most. And I have 3 projects that I would really like to see through to the end in 2026. And it's a lofty goal if I don't work on it, but if I am consistent and passionate about the things that I'm doing and spend less time on my phone, I actually think it might be a reasonable goal. So my 3 things, one of them is memory keeping for my kids. I have 3 kids, oldest is 9, and I am so close, like maybe 30 hours away from finishing that project, at least getting them up to date where then I would then maintain as the new photos come in. That's a big one, and I'm on track to finish by the end of the year to at least get caught up. I am also working on, let me get it, this massive Way of Kings cross-stitch project. It's 90,000 stitches. I am probably just a tad more than halfway. Even if I don't finish this thing entirely, if I spend a concerted effort on it over the next year, I'll be close, like it'll be fine. So that would be cool. And finally, several years ago, I bought this massive diamond art piece. It's a thing of butterflies, and it is so cool. I got about a third of it done, and it kills my back to work on it. But if I set it up somewhere and only do like a couple of gems a day, like I think I can get through it in a year, but I have to think long term. Like if I sit there until my back hurts, I'm gonna be like sick of working on it for a while. So those are my 3 things. I really don't have any other outstanding projects. I've been neglecting to make progress on them for so long. I feel stagnated, you know? Goal number 3, increase my physical strength. I've been dealing with some random injuries for a couple of years now. And so I've been just focused on getting through the day and getting back to healthy. And I'm not quite there yet, but I also know some of these injuries came about because of a lack of strength. And I am just tired of struggling with stuff. So I am committed towards feeling strong again, rebuilding my confidence in myself, and just taking pride in what I can do and how much progress I can make if I focus on that. And personal goal number 4, simplify even more. And that's everything. Everything from decluttering to lightening my schedule to focusing on fewer things at once, which is in line with all of my other goals. And I need to get more specific with that goal. I need to do more brainstorming on it because simplify more, there's no way to actually measure that. But I do know that my life is better for all the work I've done on simplifying so far. And I know I have just a little more to go, you know? I feel like it's an ongoing process. Even staunch minimalists with like 3 things in their house, they still have to exert energy to maintain that type of lifestyle. Not that that's where I want to be, but lately I've been experimenting with taking my extensive to-do lists, because there's always so many things to do, and just cutting out the bottom half, being like, nope, those aren't getting done. And you know what? Nothing seems to be suffering from it. All of those things on there, most of them are arbitrary. And so I have to get real with my own expectations for myself and how they can push me into doing way more than I need to. And if I can do that efficiently, I'll have more time for creative projects and reading. Like, it's a win all across the board. So there you have it. Sorry for the kind of dark artificial lighting video today. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it is so dark and gloomy and rainy that, I mean, there's no light coming in from the windows. And this is the only day I have this week to film, so it's where we're at. But like I said, I'm always motivated by the act of creating these goals, and it helps focus me. So after talking to you about it, I'm even more excited to start working on some of these things. What I would like to know is if you've thought about your goals for the next year yet, and if so, what are some of them? Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on my next video.